Hi, I'm Helen Evans. I'm the Chief Executive of Network Homes. We're making a short video to tell you a bit about the consideration and decisions taken by the Network Homes Board. All housing associations have a board of directors, and they're responsible both for the strategy of the organisation and for its performance. A lot of this business is conducted in boardrooms and not well known, so we thought we'd try and make an effort to communicate better what is going on at the board level. So the board meeting on the 28th of January had a very long agenda, more than 20 items. I'm not going to tell you about all of them. We've just picked out what were the most important or perhaps the most interesting. The board always starts looking at the minutes of the last meeting and with a report from the Chief Executive and the Chair. The first substantive item for decision was an important one for the organisation for the forthcoming year, and that was whether we are going to increase the rents, and if so, by how much. Over the last 4 years, there have been rent reductions in housing associations that were introduced by the last government. This is the first year since that reduction that we've been allowed to put rents up. And the formula, the government formula, allows us to put rents up by the inflation index, CPI, plus 1%. The decision that the board was debating was whether to take advantage of this permission. And the issues that they had to consider were obviously the impact on residents of rents going up, but also the very significant cost pressures on the organisation that need to be catered for by increasing our income. The board discussed it at some length and in the end decided to implement the increase, but they also decided to create a hardship fund which can be utilised by staff to assist people who are in particular financial difficulty on a one-off basis. So, for example, somebody who may have no furniture and is moving into a new flat. And the idea is that although we're having to put up the rents, where people are in significant difficulty, we may be able to assist them through a process. Another important discussion was about remediation of defects in tall buildings as a result of the fire safety investigations that have taken place following the Grenfell tragedy. The board has had to debate, first of all, how much money to put aside in our business plan for remediation works, and also critically who we can recover this money from in terms of contractors or other people who may have some liability, and whether we will have to raise charges to leaseholders for those costs that we can't recover from other parties. The board has decided that it will exhaust every eventuality before making costs against leaseholders, but that in the final analysis we will have to pass some of these costs on. It's a very difficult situation. Nationally, Network is not alone in being affected by it, and the fact that the board is considering it in such detail is a measure of how seriously we take it and how hard we will work to avoid creating major bills for occupiers if we can. The board have also agreed that Network Homes will adopt a fifth strategic objective. Our current strategy sets out our 4 main objectives in relation to service, financial strength, development capacity, and the kind of employer that we are. We are now adding a 5th, which relates directly to listening to tenants and engaging with residents about major strategic decisions, and also about how we wish to be open and transparent. This video is part of a drive towards openness and transparency. The board agreed the 5th strategic objective, but it wants further work done on how we're going to measure progress once implemented. So this is the first of these information videos about what our board is doing. There'll be one after every board meeting from now on, and as I said, it's part of our drive towards openness and transparency with both staff and residents to show exactly how Network is run.